Okay, so now that you can hear me, guys, well, welcome back to Elimination Mode. We had a longer break than expected, had some issues getting the delay server set up. Even though it's all in good fun, still got to get that delay server going. Anyway, we're going to do a short intro here into the tournament. We've got three new faces on the panel, though. Mott, Purge, and Draskell. Boys, how are we doing? Purge, you are looking sharp in that Tidehunter sweater, my man.
Yo, I almost threw on a ratty t-shirt, but I was like, I should probably try to look at least halfway decent. And I haven't actually worn this yet, so I threw it on, and I'm happy to be here.
How does it feel? Do you feel like Tidehunter? Are you ready to ravage?
I actually really like Tidehunter, man. I also like ravaging on other heroes as well, like Nyx Assassin, Leshrac, stuff like that. So, the whole Tidehunter thing really, I feel it, man.
Draskell, what's up, dude? It's been a while since we've chat. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's an early morning, but I mean that's what you do when you cast Dota on CEST time. So I'm ready to go. Also, I couldn't help but smile because Kevin was just staring right into his webcam and smiling, and when I saw him smile, I had to. Just can't help it.
It's on purpose.
And of course, we've got Mott rocking the pink. What's up, dude?
Hey, well, it's not as early here on the East Coast, but still early for me. Excited though. Should be pretty fun. This entire elimination mode thing is actually super hype, so I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, this whole thing is going to be awesome. And we got a couple points we want to make here before we get started. We have some fun production features that you'll see sprinkled in throughout the tournament. We're going to be using hashtag MoonduckTV for in-between games. Anything you want to throw there, we'll talk about it a little bit as it happens, but that's going to be a good way for you to interact with us here on the stream. There will be very limited commercial breaks throughout this entire tournament. We're going to have panels in between the games, and then Sir Action Slacks is going to come between the two series and keep you guys entertained as our kind of court jester there. So we've got two series today. We've got 4CL versus the 4 Anchors, and then our second series will be the NA matchup, Digital Chaos versus Fire. One of the things that's kind of cool about this bracket is we've got NA on one side and Europe on the other side. So we won't have any server ping issues until we get to the finals. Then, of course, we're going to have to see the NA versus EU showdown. What did you guys think about this format? It had mixed results when we announced it. A lot of people seemed very concerned about the finals having server issues.
I mean, that's going to happen in any tournament, though, honestly. I think that you kind of have to play it this way. And I think also in the Reborn client, server issues are not as big of a deal as at least that's what they've said. That's what Valve has said in the patch notes. So
I'm sure there's some kappas in there somewhere.
yeah, you're probably right. But I think it'll be fine, honestly. And I'm more excited to see, I think, the drafts than anything else. The games could go horribly, and, I wouldn't give a damn. I just want to see the drafts and people picking, I can't even think of a hero that's just ass tier right now, but I'm sure something will come up Earth Spirit. I mean, he's not ass tier, but, that's going to be such a fun... That's
Does anybody
be...
actually play him though? Because honestly, the only people I ever see play Earth Spirit are the 7K MMR ES spammers, And I mean,
Jerax is in this first series, Draskell. We can
yeah, I
see
know.
some
And
exactly.
Spirit action.
if they don't ban that hero, whatever you get is coming to you. He will probably win the game alone.
Yeah. So, and that does bring up a good point worth mentioning here. That Oracle and Earth Spirit, the only two heroes not in Captain's mode, are available for picking in this tournament. We have a custom web interface that you're going to get to see in a couple minutes here once the teams are ready to rock and roll. So it'll be very clear which heroes have already been used in the series, and the players won't be able to draft them. And then we'll load into an AP game once the casters are ready to take over. So I guess we should go over the basics of elimination mode. The concept is no repeating bans or picks in a single series. So one strategic thing that people have brought up is, what happens if you choose not to ban? Is that an option? And the answer is yes. You can let all of your bonus time expire to skip bans, but I'm curious about your thoughts, Purge. Is that ever advantageous in this kind of a format?
We talked about it a little bit yesterday, and at first I was like, oh man, people could just not take their bans, but in an effort to leave more heroes in the pool as the series goes on. But the only reason you would ever want to do that is if you're expecting the series to go along, that's the first thing, or if you're willing to use a very limited amount of time to take your picks. So it's probably not advantageous to do that unless you're expecting to go to 5 games and you're worried that your team doesn't have a very diverse hero pool. But if you're aiming for the 2-0, it doesn't really matter that much. You're only getting maybe 40 heroes into the 100 or so, right. So it might be a bit easier.
Yeah, Jerax is not on 4ASC anymore. That is ingrained in my brain, the Finnish team and the prize Finnish player. That is embarrassing, my God. Thanks, Heaton. You're supposed to remind me of those fuck-ups. Thanks, dude.
I'm sure there's still other Earth Spirit players out there. The dream is still
Yeah.
alive, Andrew. Don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the other things I wanted to mention in this little pre-show as well that was kind of confusing in the bracket, we had some scheduling conflicts with MLG. They had a single elim bracket, and we weren't sure which teams would be eliminated and available to play. Alliance, the Five Jungs, and the Monkey Freedom Fighters all wanted to participate, but of course MLG is a much bigger tournament and got first priority. So we filled that bottom part of the bracket for the EU teams with Alliance and the Monkey Freedom Fighters. They were the first two eliminated, so they were the two that got the slot. Just in full nature of full disclosure there. So I tried to be as flexible as possible with the teams. If we have the brackets, we can actually take a look at it here and just see very straightforward. 8 teams, single elim, no mess, no fuss, 4-day tournament. By Sunday, we'll have crowned a winner. Though I can't wait for the best of 5 finals. I feel like that is just pretty much, even if it's a 3-0, you're still destined to see something a little bit funky.
What happens if it goes to a 4th and a 5th game? I mean, you're running out of heroes at that point. We're going to see some like quadruple melee lineups and some really, really weird stuff. I told Mob before the cast even started, I just want to see a series go to game 3, like on the first or second day, because I want to see what people actually do in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. You get down to I think the amount of heroes you have left during the 5th game is what, 30, I believe, like 10 to ban, and then you have 20 to pick. I'm not sure if that's actually how many you have left, but it's around that number. So what are you picking at that point? You're picking like what? Chan Enchantress, Nature's Prophet, maybe. Although Furion's pretty good. Necrolite. There's some really, really weird heroes that we're probably going to see during that best of 5 series if it goes to game 4 and 5, which I'm praying and hoping that it does. But we have to get through the best of 3s first.
Yeah. Does anybody have thoughts about a crazy set of combination heroes when all the top meta picks are out? Like, is there something you really want to see here, Draskell, that would just make your day? Like an Elder Titan Pugna lane? Would that be fun?
Probably not to play. I mean, I don't like either of those heroes. So for me personally, I think that lane would be awful. But I mean, I'm interested to see people bring stuff back that hasn't been seen in a couple of patches. You know, I mean, Alliance is in the tournament, so we'll probably see like our Furion, other clowny stuff like that. But I think it's more just when people are in a situation where like the tier 1 heroes are off the table. A lot of the times, the people who play the most pubs, and this is going to sound funny, but I think they're going to be at an advantage because a lot of people play heroes that are like tier 2, tier 3 in pubs, and they realize the strength of them. So hopefully whichever team is able to do that the most can do something in like a 3rd game scenario. But if it's just 2 games and somebody raffle stomps, then we might not see too much deviation from the norm.
What are you thinking, Purge? What kind of crazy combos are you hoping for?
Oh, I'm trying to figure out what there is the least amount of, because normally when you play Captain's Draft, you look at the hero pool that happens to come up randomly, and you say, like, what is there a limit of? Are there only 3 good support heroes? Should we take those now? Should we ban them out, kind of a thing? And I wonder how much that's going to go towards the late game, because if in the first game you ban heavily carries or something like that, then maybe there's going to be a lack of carries in the game 3 or even the game 5. Maybe there'll be a super lack of supports. Maybe somebody's going to have to be forced into like a lineup that has all semi-carries versus a team that actually has a vaguely accurate comp. I think watching that develop is going to be the most fun thing of the tournament personally, and just seeing what people have to deal with and whether or not there's lanes that can be abused because the tri-lanes are weak, or maybe the offlaner is much better than the zoning supports or something like that. All of those are possibilities that might actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And similarly, I'm also interested to see, you talked about carries, but also, you know, at some point, some of these heroes, you kind of have to pick a jungler here and there, and some of the junglers aren't played that often anymore. I'd like to see more Enigma, personally. Maybe Jungle Doom, although that's probably not a great idea. Actually, that's probably a terrible idea, but still.
He's not horrible. It's not. He's like not as good as he used to be, but he's still viable.
Yeah.
Not like competitively. They could play him. Like, we're gonna see all those characters pretty much. Like,
I
who's gonna be like,
so.
yeah, time to ban Doom. Like, nobody's gonna do that. He'll get picked. He could be even safe lane carry or something. Buy a lot of items. Get like Guardian Greaves or something, and then transition into carry build or something. There's a lot of options.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And also just a couple of cool like dual combos, just like seeing like PA and Magnus or something, just to have that synergy. There's plenty of other things. I was actually thinking about this in bed last night, just like thinking about what good combos there were, and I had one really good combo that I thought of, and then I forgot it when I woke up this morning, so whatever. It happens.
You can't just set me up like that and then disappoint me.
Yeah, dude.
I'm trying really hard to think, Draskell. It's just not coming to me right now, man. I'm sorry.
You know, we could see a little Riki Maru play, some Lone Druid, you know? Who else is? Maybe some Meepos will pop out, some pocket strats like that.
Dude, I think Lone Druid's like a last-ditch effort for teams. Like, even Alliance having
Really?
one of the best at, like... I think that hero's actually just trashed here right now.
Okay, maybe our draft is about to start. Actually, we could go around the table. Who do you think is actually the worst hero? Like, who is the hero that will just get ignored this entire tournament if you had to pick one?
Oh,
Is there
Absolute worst hero? I don't know. That one's tough because I think a lot of
That's
it's
really hard.
lineup based and also what you're
Yeah.
playing against. So that's a hard one to say. But I definitely think Lundra is pretty awful.
one?
at the
Lundrad's
moment.
low on that? Okay.
yeah. I'm kind of on Elder Titan right now, but I don't know if it's that bad.
Nah. He's not that bad.
Yeah,
The problem with
I don't know.
Lundra is that his timing doesn't synergize with anything.
If you get a medallion, it's okay. I did that the other day. Get a medallion on your main hero, and then your bear hits super hard. I think he's exploitable.
Yeah. I don't know if we're actually going to see anybody play Oracle. I think she'll either be banned quite a bit or she'll just be ignored. I'm not sure. That hero is a big question mark for me in terms of how powerful.
It's going to get banned if there's a Huskar picked, basically. I think that's definitely likely.
Yeah. So, all right, we've got a draft underway here, and I think we can go ahead and show off this sexy new interface. Now, this is some in-house here programming. This is actually via web browser that you're looking at, or will be momentarily. And the teams are logged in. We've got secure logins. Everybody's going to be drafting here, and then once this is done, we'll be loading into that AP game. The teams are already in the game, and they'll just have to pick up their heroes. So far, so good, boys. We've got pretty predictable bans. Bunch of meta heroes taken out. Queen of Pain and Earthshaker, Lesh and Bounty Hunter. Get them out of here.
So they're going to go for the alternate bounty hunter, Ricky. It's like the far shittier version of roaming bounty hunter.
I mean, what is his base damage? Like 15 lower than Bounty Hunters or something like that? I'm pretty sure Ricky hits for almost like Shadow Fiend levels of damage now, without backstab.
And if he gets behind, he's just awful. Like, he can't contribute to a team fight at all. He, like, drops a smoke cloud and he's like, alright guys, good luck. It's very different. Tusk is going to be out of the game, happy to hear, eventually, after this game.
Next game.
Yeah, I guess game one is really not that crazy. It's just pretty much a normal draft for the most part, unless there's some kind of a hero that you're saving for later on that you might not ban right away, hoping you can get it in the second game.
Well, I think it's a bit tricky, because if you go for the standard, let's just pick a really good team composition, then in game two, what happens if you have a game plan going in and then suddenly either one of the heroes that you want gets banned or one of them gets taken by the other team? You know, I think it's really important to have like a second and a third game plan in these scenarios, because even if you get like a really good draft and you're really practiced with that draft, what happens if you play a bunch of heroes you have no idea what you're doing with in the next two games? Like it's a possibility. Like a lot of these teams, they're still kind of trying to figure out their own play styles, and most people are just kind of copying what people did at TI5. So once that's out of the way, what's your go-to at that point?
I feel like people just have to pick standard game one, honestly. Like, you can't think about the next couple rounds because it's entirely based on what they pick and what they draft. Like, it's a best of three, right? Like, if you get a game win, then you just have to cheese out a win with some shit hero comp in the next two games. So the first game, pick as standard as possible, get the best heroes, and then figure things out as you go in the next two games. I think, like, honestly, it's about the first game. This mode is the easiest way, unless you're really good at adapting, in which case some of the other teams can just be like, oh, we have a much bigger hero pool. We're going to wing it game two and game three, and we're going to outplay you because we're overall better Dota players. And that may be something that happens.
Yeah. You know, for the trench tier of heroes, I just was looking at chat. Terrorblade, how did nobody bring that one up? I feel like he's pretty low on my list.
Yo, that mid Terrorblade, dude. That's actually legit.
We played it during the Red Bull this weekend. We played a lot of like in-houses with personalities, and Wagamama would go mid. Some guy posted the video to Reddit originally, but then it kind of caught on. But it's actually very good mid against heroes that aren't very defensive, because your illusion cooldown, it's like 10 seconds cooldown, like 4 or 5 seconds uptime or something like that at level 4. So you just super disable an opponent, and then you just hit them from range until they die. So it's very good if you stay ahead. If you get behind, it's a pretty shit build, but it's actually something that's viable. And you can even play like off lane Terrorblade. It's not good, but it's something you can do. There's a lot of options for it.
Man, you're like perfectly positioned for this, Purge. You've just been playing these crazy in-houses.
I ran them all the time, baby. This is my game mode. Too bad I have to go to a wedding later today.
Yeah. So, we didn't mention that in the pre-show as well, but it will be a TriCast for our first game. Unfortunately, Purge has some real-life obligations for most of the tournament, so he'll be doing a TriCast with SUNSfan and syndereN. Oh, it's your brother. Wow, it's even more serious.
I should probably go. I'm one of the Grimsmen. I should probably go.
Probably don't want to miss that one. That's for sure. So, all right, Tusk Dazzle for the 4 anchors. Lena Gyro for the Clovers. So far, pretty standard here, boys.
There's got to be an Oracle or an ES pick this game. I
No
feel
way.
it coming. Please, it
They're not
needs to
gonna pick
happen.
Dude,
Oracle
nobody
yet.
even knows how Oracle works.
I know,
Like,
dude.
I've
That's
seen,
the
like,
beauty of him.
I've seen like 5 people who play Oracle, and
You,
none of
you
them
see
were even that
Oracle and you're
good.
like, how do I play against this hero? What does he do? I don't exactly know what's happening right now. Suddenly I'm stuck. I can't move. I can't attack. What's happening? That's how I
Like,
feel
I got
about
a
the
haste
hero.
rune, I just got purged. What the hell is going on? Okay.
Yes! 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 Oh, I'm so excited right
Yeah,
now.
we got the Earth Spirit.
That
All
was
right,
likely. The Oracle,
I mean,
don't
are
think
you
so.
excited or are you disgusted that you have to watch this in a real game after having
It
played
takes some
against it in
skill
pubs?
to play Earth Spirit. Everybody's just like, he's not as good as he used to be. He's not as overpowered as he used to be. He's still kind of really good, but he does take some skill to use him.
Well,
But he'll
I'm
probably
invested,
own the
though.
game anyways. So
Ultra tier 1 hero, very good.
How do you lane him though? Do you just put him mid? Do you put him off lane?
you can put him off lane, I think, and that's pretty good.
I think support or offlane is pretty much the best roles for him.
Okay. Yeah, I come across support Earth Spirits most in my pub games. Not too many core spirits that actually. I mean, how do you item build him as well? Is Aghanims like a pretty viable item if you put him in more of a core position where you get some farm?
Yeah, Aghanims is like ridiculous. I think that's the point where he becomes borderline broken, because you can do it to heroes who are BKB'd as well. So you can just turn them into a boulder, throw them horrendously out of position, and then it's like, okay, well, how do we react to that? Because you don't even have to be that close to do it. It has like, what, 700-800 range or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah.
So you could just come out, turn him into a rock, pull him, kick him, and it's like, okay, well, you just lost that fight.
I mean, I think the best thing about Earth Spirit heroes is Dazzle counter. That's mostly it. Like, I honestly think the hero's semi-balanced right now. Like, maybe not amazingly balanced. It was obviously much worse in the past, though. But if you can silence the Dazzle, like, that's one of the best counters to him. If he ever gets Greaves, for example, before he ever gets that. So I think it's good in that situation.
I think he also matches up very well against these very finicky initiation type combos like Tusk and Wind Ranger, where you have like a snowball into a shackle or something, and Earth Spirit just totally nullifies that. It's kind of like having Vengeful Spirit, but useful outside of swap.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. And they also get a silencer to cover themselves against the Dazzle,
Wow.
so
That
it's going to be a
is
really tough Dazzle game.
super silence. Yeah, I like that silencer pick here.
Makes their lanes a bit weird. Is that support silencer, support Earth Spirit? Or
Yeah.
Earth could go off lane, but support works as well, I think.
They are lacking
Yeah.
on some control. They've got a lot of silence, but they don't have much lockdown.
I don't know, I think I would actually say that Earth Spirit stun is pretty reliable. It's a relatively fast projectile. You can
Okay.
dodge it if you're like 700-800 range away or something like that, but if you get caught off guard, then you have Light Strike Array follow-up and you have Gyrocopter's cooldown. There's quite a bit of damage output and, I think, disable enough to be able to stop that. And against heroes like Dazzle and Wyvern, who are 100% defensive, as soon as you get a good initiation, or for instance Tusk goes on you, that global becomes better against these types of teams, I personally feel, because once the fight is kicked off, you can just get a quick pick on a hero with your Lina and Gyrocopter damage, or like a good Earth Spirit stun on that global, and then once that happens, then it's like a 4v5, and it's very likely that that could happen this game.
Okay. I like that. It makes sense. Shaping up to be a
Excited.
pretty interesting draft here. There's the Huskar ban from the Four Clovers.
No Huskar Oracle. Rest
Alright.
in peace. Still techies. We will see techies today, surely,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think
Especially if it
so.
goes to game 3. Game 3, if they don't pick in game 2, they're definitely picking in game 3.
Oh, think you could like ban anti-techies heroes in game 1 and then pick him game 2 first pick.
Yeah, that's the thing about this
Oh,
mode
God.
is like if you think there's a decent chance that you could go to a game 3 against a team you're even against, then it really makes a difference. You can ban 4 game 2 to pick heroes that are kind of broken. That's an interesting dynamic. Ooh, Broodmother banned out now.
Do you guys feel like the teams were actually banning for further rounds more than they were of this current game?
I think they probably are adopting the same mentality as you had. Just stick to the one game, and then just try to do what you can with that and see what happens in game 2.
And
let's
remember,
be
this
honest,
is the first match for this as well, so there's no data on record for what kind of strategy is best in this kind of a scenario.
Yeah, and the other thing too is there's still a lot of decent heroes left. It's not like Dota 2 or 3 years ago where half the hero pool was pretty much useless and you never played it. Nowadays it's like most of the heroes are actually good. It's just that there are probably 15 to 20 that are broken.
Reserve time.
Okay,
Nobody
so-
likes Dire Strength this game for some reason.
Yeah. It's kind of an interesting medley of heroes. Most of them are not particularly strong in this meta, except like Spirit Breaker and Undying.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of makes sense, but maybe that's the pool that's always going to be left in. Like, ah, damn it, we've got to play Magnus Pudge this game. Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't think anything too terrible like that's going to end up happening.
I
But
wonder
I do
how
feel
much
like
we will see Pudge, though. That's one that could get played a fair bit.
Yeah, I think so. I'm also excited to see other combinations, like, for example, maybe Lifestealer plus like a puck later on down, like maybe in a game 3 or game 4 or 5 for the finals or something like that. But for these last couple picks, I don't think we'll see anything too unusual. I'm glad they banned out the Broodmother, because that's something that you could achieve with, if not this game, then in game number 2 to try to get that second victory. You know, draft standard, like Purge was saying, for game 1, win game 1, and then cheese game 2 with like a Broodmother or a Techies, for example. That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel
with
like
Darkseer,
PL
Ember Spirit, Earthshaker banned out, Brood could have been scary.
Yeah, but for the same reasons, PL could have been equally as scary. And I feel like that hero is not necessarily a cheese. It's strong enough to the point where if you didn't have good counters, then you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. And looking at the heroes that they have, like Gyro, Lina, Earth Spirit, Silencer, that is ample lockdown, I feel, and AoE to be able to take down the PL. So maybe that's kind of one of those bans where, sure, it's okay to ban it in this scenario, but it's even better to take it out before the next game so you don't have to worry about it.
Ooh, Rexar, the final pick for the 4 Clovers. So, again, I don't know how they're going to lane this. I guess that means it's a support Earth Spirit as well as a support
10
Silencer.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, I like the Beastmaster, though, solely because
5 seconds
this hero was seen a
remaining.
lot at the beginning of 6.84 when you had a lot of the like Undying and Beastmaster and like Queen off lanes and stuff like that. And his solo lockdown potential is like some of the best in the game, just hands down. And he adds a ridiculous amount of push to the lineup where I don't feel like they had a whole lot of it, at least until the Gyro and the Lina start to get a little bit of farm. So I think it's actually a really, really cool draft here by 4CL.
It's
All right,
very cool
final
down
pick.
reliant, but that's about it.
Lynx for the 4 Anchors. This 4 Clover lineup, I think, is pretty scary. If they can manage their cooldowns like Purge was saying, this is pretty...
It is a good Clinks game, definitely. If he gets an Orchid or something, he can easily solo kill Earth Spirit, Silencer. Maybe not Lina if she has Euls, but it's pretty dangerous for some of those support heroes. Earth Spirit is a bit weak to physical.
I think Clinks is also very strong. I know PPD thinks very highly of this hero. He loves Clinks, and you get maybe a Medallion, you get the Desolator, which is what Fear would build, even at TI5. Very strong hero. So I'm excited to see what 4ASC could do. They don't have the Earth Spirit, they don't have the Silencer, Beastmaster. I like the drafted 4CL a bit more, but 4AC definitely has a lot of damage and control.
All right, so we're loading into the game here, folks. You have to stick with us for just a moment, but had that lobby already set up. So overall thoughts, game 1? What are we thinking? Predictions? Do you like the 4? Are we in agreement that the 4CL lineup may be a little bit stronger, or you guys think this will be a pretty even game 1 based on heroes?
I feel even though it's cooldown based, I think it's actually easier to play than what 4ASC have right now. That's my honest opinion. I don't know if it's necessarily better, but sometimes having that ease of execution can be the tipping point that you need to win. So I'll go with 4CL.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think 4CL has enough magic damage to deal with like Winter Wyvern, Dazzle, and they've got plenty of silences and good disables, so I agree. I think their lineup does look a little better. 4ASC also is lacking damage a little bit. It's very Clinks, and if Wind Ranger gets a Focus Fire reliant, so they're just going to have to execute better, I think. I agree with Dreskel. 4CL looks like they have the better draft.
Yeah,
What are you thinking, Mott? You
I think
concur?
4CL as well, yeah. I just think Earth Spirit's a strong hero, and we have yet to see him played in any sort of professional game. This would be our first time seeing it. I like the Silencer pickup, especially against heroes like Wyvern and Dazzle, like they were talking about. Clinks will have to do a lot of work this game. I definitely think 4CL has the advantage here.
All right. Fair enough. So this is game 1, folks. Remember, this is elimination mode. All of the heroes that have been banned and picked here at game 1 will not be repeats in this opening series of the 4 Anchors versus the 4 Clovers. After this, we will have the EU matchup, Fire versus the Digital Chaos team. I always want to say Team Dota Cinema. I have to correct myself. Digital Chaos will be the match coming up after this. So with that, we've got game 1 just about to get underway as the players pick their APs here. I'm excited. I'm glad this mode is finally happening. I can't wait to see the chaos that breaks out.
Who had the original idea? Do you remember?
Reddit.
Okay, nice, we stole it.
Pretty much. I mean, it's been posted on Reddit a couple of times, to be honest. I don't know. Buka was the one that kind of thought, hey, that's a good idea. I wonder if I could actually make that happen logistically in terms of this interface. So it was kind of the key piece behind it in terms of actually making the whole thing work together. But it's a damn good idea. We'll see. Maybe we could turn it into a custom mode actually in-game. I don't know how often people want to play best of 3 custom games, but that could be a kind of a cool game mode for people to be able to play. So,
I think it's a
with
cool
that,
change of pace.
yeah. So with that, we've got a game underway, and we're going to hand it over to our TriCast. We've got syndereN and SUNSfan that'll be coming in here to join Purge.
Hello, friends. How's it going? Welcome to Elimination mode. SUNSfan here with Purge
God.
and
Oh my god, yeah.
Dude, the Reddit already hates you. It's definitely worse now. What do you think?
I know. I just wanted to start that way. It's all good. I'm actually playing with this new weather effect. It's going to be quite distracting, but luckily the camera is with somebody else in more capable hands. But you guys went over the draft, Purge. syndereN, what do you think of it?
I think one team has Earth Spirit, so they're auto favorites.
If I'm
the
not
funny
mistaken,
thing is, yeah, in our Captain's Draft
Yeah.
tournament, Earth Spirit lost both games, but it wasn't. I feel like in both games, the player on Earth Spirit was really not comfortable on it. So I'm curious to see if Bambo plays a good Earth Spirit. Of course, the situation was that a lot of the players don't practice it because it wasn't available in Captain's mode anyway. So why would you spend time on it? So I'm curious
are you
to see.
sure
that.
about that? I thought, didn't Jerax play one of them?
No, it was Vanscore, and the other one was I can't remember.
I don't know how you even remember that.
it was definitely not
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, friend.
I don't think I've ever seen Bimbo play Earth Spirit, so I don't know.
Yeah, and you know him
He's
better
very
than
playable.
most, don't you?
I did live with him for about 9 months, yeah. I mean, he's a super good player. He wins he's pretty consistent in in-house leagues. He wins a lot of them, or at least places very high consistently. He's probably one of the best pub players, but I don't know if I've seen him play Earth Spirit much. So he's going to trap one to start things off with the pull. Trap's a little creep. He's obviously practiced this a little bit, pulls the range creep in, and this is going to mean that his wave pushes back towards him. Helps him guarantee some experience.
Very nice. Let's just go over the lineups as we... There's actually no team names. I don't know if that's a Reborn thing. We'll just chalk it up to that. Everything that goes wrong is Reborn. But looking at 4CL, we have Sexy Bambo, as you talked about, on the Earth Spirit. In mid, we have Saksa on Lena. Pycat's going to be playing the Beastmaster. MGE on Silencer at bottom. And last but not least, Swift Ending on the Gyro. Who wants to take 4ASC? As Bambo, top lane, is taking a ridiculous amount of damage thanks to the searing arrows from the Clinks.
I'll do 4ESC. I like 4ESC. We've got Trixie. I don't know why he's called Kalukun in the off lane on the Tusk. Mid lane's going to be Nymphy on Windranger, and we've got Balix. Yeah, this is a weird bug with the names actually. On the Wyvern, OKCia is on Dazzle, and then finally CB on the Clinks. I'll have to look up the correct names for them. I should know this by heart, but with the roster changes, it's hard to remember everything. They're not playing with stand-ins today, I do believe. So
yeah, I don't think so either, but we have seen this bug before with Reborn. It's just a consistent thing. Mid lane, Pycat taking some extra damage from the Arctic Burn of Winter Wyvern. And does anybody know how to level Earth Sphere? Because I have no freaking idea.
It kind of depends on the game, but usually you max out your Boulder Smash, I think, because it scales the most damage. And the stun duration is so good. It's 2.25 seconds in an AoE and a 10-second cooldown. It's actually a great ability once you get to level 4. So he's got to grab roll here at level 2 because he needs to be able to escape, but I think I see more players maxing Boulder Smash than they do max Geomagnetic Grip for the silence.
Yeah, fair enough. Is Trixie bottom lane getting harassed a bit by the Silencer? He's going to be just fine, however. I mean, like you guys talked about in the panel, the picks, other than the Earth Spirit and even to some degree Beastmaster, the picks other than that have been pretty normal since it is the first game. Is the Winter Wyvern will be hit by the LSA, but again, all this is harassment damage in the end. Saksa roaming a lot with Lena. We don't get to see support Lena as often as we used to, but we're going to be seeing it here today. Were you guys expecting that to be the core to begin with when they picked it? I think it was one of the first couple picks, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I did, yeah. I thought it would be a core. I mean, it's first picked as a roaming support. It's not amazing. It's okay, but
hey, he hit his stun, so you know.
Good for
That's
him.
good.
Really good for him. Nice job.
wait, so
Thank
this
you, I was
this
waiting
is
for that.
interesting actually. Okay, so I just read up on the player names, and obviously Balix, as his name is here, has got to be Valix. So
Oh,
that
okay.
would mean that we have Boogie playing carry. He's got to be the Clinks unless they're playing with a stand-in. Yeah, once again, this bug is annoying, so we're not 100% sure, but I do believe that's Boogie.
Mid
Good
lane,
shackle on
Shackle
Pycat.
Shot connects onto Pycat. And there's going to be TP support from Sexy Bambo. He's going to jump in with that whatever that skill is and do absolutely nothing because it is, well,
Yeah.
he's only level 2 right now.
He only had a slow and a silence. He was actually going to accomplish nothing by jumping in there, except for maybe saving Pycat, but didn't.
Now he's
didn't
just
do
going to
much.
take his farm, so it's all good.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Purge, would you say there's any situations where you wouldn't skill 1/1/1 on Earth Spirit at level 3?
No, I can't imagine. Like the triple disable is so good. It gives you everything you need. Like look at the scaling. If you get a second level of geomagnetic grip, you get 0.5 seconds of extra silence and 50 damage. Whereas if you just skill Boulder Smash, you get like what 50 damage from that and a 0.75 second stun, and it gives you way more utility options. It's just I feel like there's no reason you'd ever go. I'm not a super experienced Earth Spirit player, but you pretty much always go 1/1/1, I think.
And I think that's part of the reason why this hero has just been considered absolutely ridiculous, is that 1 point in each ability just makes you a walking god right now. If he gets to find the initiations he's looking for, he can do so much work.
It used to be way worse. He used to be able to do
Yeah.
like 300 damage at level 3 with his 3 skills. Now he does like 200. It's a huge difference. That's like a huge nerf in damage. So I think he's vaguely balanced right now, but we'll see how he ends up in the pro scene.
Bottom lane looks like Trixie is going to take a ton of damage. This is going to be enough. In fact, the homing missile, it's not going to do that much damage.
What level is that?
But is it enough?
Level 1, surely.
This could be enough, actually.
Boom!
Wow.
What a kill!
Okay.
Most anticlimactic kill ever, but hey, 4CL will take it. At what level does Earth Spirit become scary as a roamer from that
Level
offlane?
3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. That's
But
pretty
the
sick.
thing is, right now they're playing him as an offlaner, and I would actually say, in my opinion, this is where you put Lina offlane and start roaming the Earth Spirit, because I think he actually does a better job than Lina at what she's trying to do right now. So, the alternative, of course, is keeping him over there to level 6. If he can get it fast, I would say that's good too, but if he's getting, like, mediocre experience, he could easily gank that mid lane Windranger with the right timing. Especially when Pycat hits
guess.
6 in a moment.
I feel like it would be hard though because she has good movement speed with wind runs, so landing some of your disables might be difficult. I'm not sure. if
Pycat's
it'll be
almost
worth it.
6, so then they can just open with Roar.
Okay, that's
But I guess then they can combo it with Lina as well, then they might not need... Oh, we'll see.
I'd rather just keep the Earth Spirit and keep him leveling, get him 6 as fast as possible, and then maybe he can start getting solo kills on the supports, like Dazzle or something like that, or Winter Wyvern. Those are heroes he can definitely solo kill. They won't be able to get away from him unless they TP.
Well, he is level 6 now, but only at half HP. Won't be able to get a solo kill of any kind. Rune's going to come up at top lane, and...
Oh,
or
that's
he
so
should be able to
greedy,
do that.
actually, going for this from
Pycat's going
Pycat.
pretty deep here. Takes a considerable amount of damage again. Power Shot does miss, however. And, yeah, Trixie coming towards mid lane with the Haste Rune, looking for Pycat. Does he have enough damage to do this? Starts off with a Snowball. Shackle Shot first, not the greatest of layering. How much burst damage do they really have in the end? There's the counter roar onto Tusk.
Attack speed.
LSA not there, though. And Tusk will
Sigil
run
is
away
good.
with his tail between his legs.
Those little...
Oh, wait, wait!
Oh,
No. Not quite. That would have been a blind one for Sexy Bambo.
I think he
Those
would have
are
survived, though. Yeah, he would have. It's not enough damage in the
It's
wall.
100 damage, yeah. It would have been like 25.
It's only
short.
50, right? Oh, it's 100.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
got
you're
level
right.
yeah.
He's maxing that one. Yeah.
Before we get later into this game, do you guys think that Earth Spirit is ready for CM?
I think so.
No.
Good. I'm glad we can all
Have
agree.
you played him before, Sin?
Yeah,
Okay.
not proud of
I
it.
don't know. I've only played him like 6 to 8 times or something like
I think
that.
I've played it 4 times. I tried it when it came out to see what it was like, and then I think I've just the other times have been randoms.
Okay. I think he's like, I don't know, I'm bad at him, so maybe it's not the best example. Good players will be kind of ridiculous on him, but he seems kind of fair now. In the past, he'd be like level 6 and you could kill any hero on the map, but it's not the same anymore. He's getting wrapped around on top, though.
Indeed. Arctic Burn is there as well. He's going to try to roll away. Almost ends up on the other side of the map, and, well, that'll be enough to get away. What do you...
Balanced.
Are these... This is just visual, right? These cliffs?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so.
you can put wards there, so that's a little bit better that you can actually see what's going on, but...
That was ridiculous. No other offlane hero can survive like that, that's for sure.
Well, if you have, in all fairness, if you have any sort of blink, you also escape that. But you just don't put heroes that have blink in the offlane very often. Maybe Queen of Pain there would have been fine, you know, but it's still ridiculous because Blink is instant, of course, but the thing is the rolling boulder takes you 1600 distance. It's the longest traveling ability there is in the game, I think. Blink is 1300, I believe, in comparison to the Queen of Pain one, so... Pretty crazy how much of a
That was pretty ridiculously strong. That was actually amazing. And he didn't even have to aim it right, he just aimed it at the wall, and it just kind of rolled against the wall, so he didn't get penalized that way.
Well, if we compare the carries right now, the Clinks versus Gyro, as far as last hits are concerned, very even in that regard. Of course, Clinks is going to rely a little bit more on the snowballing, not literally, but I guess with... That's not really the greatest setup, the actual snowball, but snowballing of the hero, that is. Gyro, we've talked about this hero to death, but can take it late, like very little. I mean, he's actually quite unique in the fact that he can fight early, as well as take it really late game. So you guys, would you agree that the late game for 4CL is going to be considerably better?
4CL's Radiant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. Much more diverse damage sources. Silencer could transition into a semi-carry. Lena could transition into a semi-carry. You know, Earth Spirit's always relevant for disables, whereas Winter Wyvern and Dazzler are mostly just sitting it back and like trying to set up the stun. No, they're gonna sit back and like try to help their allies. They won't be able to transition nearly as well.
It's a little... It's always whenever you have Wyvern in late game, I feel like it's always a wild card, because the stronger the enemy team gets, the faster they kill themselves if you get a good curse, so... I think there's a lot of value to having Weave and Curse together, but apart from that, their carries are really one-dimensional. Like, it's single target Clinks, it's single target Windranger, so Ghost Scepters, Force Staffs, just generally having even a Crest would be really, really good for keeping their targeted heroes safe. So I would agree, I think 4CL have more options, but the Dire lineup can deal a lot of damage still in the late game.
Bambo about to hit 6 here, so he'll be able to use it to maybe set up a kill. Again, it'll be like maybe a Windranger mid. Him killing his support's kind of tough at this point, I feel.
Is that a hero? So, okay, I was going to say, you do get his ultimate at 6, if I'm not mistaken. Although
Oh,
I don't
definitely,
really see
yeah.
a whole lot of that hero in general. Magnetize, the old... people call him Ebola Spirit. That, I feel like there's many different factors to that, and one of which is definitely his ultimate, which is just super, super annoying.
Does 300 damage if you're... It's kind of hard to cast, it's very short range, but once you start it, it does 300. Oh, if it does support.
Clinks his first kill on the board. He rotates to bottom jungle, and gets the kill on Silencer. As mid lane, in the meantime, we're going to have a double stun action onto Nemphy, taking some wild axes as well. Attempting to run away. Windrun is down. He will fall eventually. No, he gets healed! Shallow Grave on top of that, but he is being affected by Magnetize. He gets the kill with Power Shot. He might go down to Magnetize in the end. It's a 2-for-1 overall, including the bottom jungle interaction. And that looks like it'll end right here with a bunch of TP support from 4CL, as they're going to continue to push this lane.
I think they might need to be a little careful here. Oh, actually, never mind. Wyvern's out of mana.
Yeah, they really can't defend this very well, but I guess the Radiant team doesn't have much pushing power either. Oh, he's in trouble.
Oh boy. Wrong place at the wrong time with the sentry in the right place. Or was that a dust, actually?
I think they saw him initially with the sentry, and then they follow-up dusted. So if you look at the sentry, it just barely covers a little bit of their ramp, and Boogie actually walked in there and got caught next to the Observer Ward as well.
It's actually kind of a unusual place for a Radiant Observer Ward, but it actually was quite useful for them there, because if the Kinks do come from Clinks, he's probably coming from that direction. And Dire people usually don't aim to deward that, because it's a bit rare to ward in that position, so I like the positioning of that.
If you look at the Magnetize from Earth Spirit, 6-second duration.
Yeah.
Shallow Grave is 5, so counter to Shallow Grave, perhaps? You can say
It
that
actually
any
did
DOT.
there.
Yeah.
It simply outlasted it. And, well, technically the duration
Oh
of
my
Magnetize is, what's the max duration? 40 seconds? It's like...
6 times, like, 6, or 6
6 times
5.
6, right? So you can magnetize a target for 36 seconds in theory. Just by, whenever it's just about to expire, you just cast a stone near them and then it refreshes entirely. It's pretty... Yeah, it's a hero.
Pycat looking to roar in the bot lane. We'll see.
It's actually one of my favorite things to complain about when I play pubs. Would you believe it? It's actually... I love complaining about Earth Spirit when I play against it. It's super frustrating. But the funny thing about this hero, in my opinion, is I feel like it's such a cool hero concept. Like, the design of the hero and the way the spells work is really, really cool. It's just very difficult to balance. It's like... It's really fun and very mobile and active, which I like in a hero. But the numbers, I feel like, just still need to be tweaked, and maybe one of the spells needs an entire rework before it actually makes sense. I'm not sure.
Yeah, bottom lane looks like Trixie's getting caught out, gets destroyed, and the tier 1 tower will fall as a result. So 4CL continuing the pressure in this bottom lane. They were very patient with that. Meanwhile, top lane, Clink's doing his thing, going to take out this tower with those searing arrows. And with that, everyone's going to go back to their farming ways.
I think you're just a hater, Sind. I don't think Earthspirit's that amazing. I just hear a lot of complaining and not a lot of factual analyzation of why the heroes are too strong.
Yeah, why don't you factually analyze it, syndereN? Jeez.
Alright, Purge, here we go. His ultimate on level 1 can in theory deal 1800 damage by dropping stones.
How often do you see somebody use more than like 3 stones on a single hero before they get back up though?
That's 900!
I mean, yeah, it's a theoretically a shitload of damage, but in practice, does it happen?
You wanted a theoretical explanation, right?
I did, but that's...
Alright, he has a silence, a stun, a mobility spell. His Aghanim Scepter is ridiculously insane. It can save an ally or kick an enemy into your own fountain from your tier 4. You know, those are some arguments.
Those are also situational, though. What about, like, in a Dota game? Like, okay, you already talked about Magnetize, where you're like, wow, you can throw somebody into your fountain. Oh, you get a disruption if you spend 4,000 gold. Like, yeah, those are all really cool things, but... Like, talk about, like, his early game or something. Like, the first like, 15 minutes. That's what you should be focusing on in your arguments, I feel.
It's
Rather
true.
than
Like,
saying these situational things are overpowered as hell.
if your early game doesn't work out very well, the hero falls off because of how countered he is by BKB. So you want to be active early on and get something done. We haven't seen that much from Bambo just yet. But I still don't feel like he's missed his timing window. He's level 8, minute 14. This is when he can really peak if a team fight breaks out on their terms. So
you can also
we'll
dispel his ultimate now, either through Yule's or Diffusal Blade or something like that. So there are counters to him that exist that weren't necessarily there before. So other than BKB, you can also beat him by just typical dispels, which are common now. Lotus Orb, etc.
I feel like 4ASC is going to have a lot of trouble starting now, mainly because not only Bambo level 8, but Silencer has Global Silence to work with. Lina has Laguna Blade, which can easily be set up, the LSA as well can be set up quite easily from Pycat's Roar. Where's the smoke? Oh, okay, there we go. Got a couple smokes in tow. For both teams, actually. So we'll see if the rotations start now. I mean, I feel like 4ASC, correct me if I'm wrong, they need to snowball. The Clinks is basically the backbone of this team.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about the amazing ultimate from Winter Wyvern, but you need something on top of that.
He's got his Deso at least. Like, he can definitely four-shot a Silencer, and I think that's why most of the Radiant team is just grouping so much, because they are worried about Clinks. Like, look at the sentries in their jungle.
Yeah. Well, smoke pop by 4ASC. They will be the first to strike, going into the Radiant jungle. Pycat, oh man, it's going to be a smoke-on-smoke action. Gyro's not even close. Clinks,
oh, wow.
Do they have dust? They do, they pop it. But here comes the Winter Curse. They're going to beat the crap out of their own teammate in Beastmaster. He's going to get stuck by the Ice Shards as well. Snowball to follow. There's the Walrus Punches. Not enough damage to take him out, though. And now Trixie's going to fall as a result from the Laguna Blade and burst damage from Lina altogether. And 4ASC is forced to fall back. They didn't even have their whole team, but they could hold that. That is one tanky mother effer Beastmaster.
Yeah, it was a little unfortunate that it went high ground there, because otherwise the Dire team definitely would have won that since they had Clinks in front to get the slight jump on them. But because they were able to back up a little bit, there was pretty much no chance of them dying. It seemed like a bit of a disconnect on the Dire team, like, oh, should we back, should we stay? Because the Winter's Curse was good, but it just wasn't enough damage.
They didn't have the follow-up because of the global. I think the global was just perfectly timed, and it's also not that great of a position for them. Oh, Silencer is super dead.
2.5 shots from Clinks. We're having a call down. Roar on top of it. It's a 1-for-1 right now. Make it a 2-for-1. Dazzle falls in the end. Clinks getting healed up by his teammate Winter Wyvern, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He might be able to get a kill on the back end, but he will fall one way or another, or will he? Oh, they don't have dust? Oh, it's only a Necro level...
Level 1.
2.
2, actually.
Yeah, he just
picked up 2.
He just got both, yeah.
They got some good value out of the Roar there. Finished off the Dazzle, the last word was on him. They did Roar damage and slow to the Tusk as well. And they just clean up, basically kill everybody that's left over.
I didn't even realize they didn't use Roar in the previous engagement.
Yeah, there wasn't.
It just has a ridiculous.
You don't want to waste it. Like the Tusk almost died, so there's no reason to roar that when you think you can get away with it. And Pycat's a good enough player where you can recognize that.
Well, he's working on that level 3 neck. He's actually not far away from that at all. Only a few hundred away at this point. That's going to be pretty bad news if you are a 4ASC fan, especially for the Clinks, who is level 11, has the Deso as you talked about, 1200 to boot. They're going to go for another smoke. And as we say that, the smoke was bought on the other team, Sexy Bambo. I don't think they're going to get there in time to do the old smoke v smoke action.
My cat going for a solo kill.
Where's this?
Does he have Hawk? He has Hawk right now. He's going to spot him.
Oh boy. He sees him, but there comes the snowball, and from the left side, they will be flanked by Furious. See Pycat getting blown up with the Walrus Punch and right-click damage of Clinks. Trying to take out the board. Meanwhile, Sexy Bambo rolling to the other side of the map with that non-broken hero named Earth Spirit. That is actually ridiculous. What is the actual range?
It is 1600 when you connect it with a boulder. In a way, as I mentioned earlier, it's comparable to Blink, but the main difference is that you can actually interrupt this. So if you catch them mid-animation with a stun, or you block it, so you just get in front of him somehow, he can't roll away. So in a sense, the rolling boulder I don't feel like is an absolutely crazy ability. It's all about the combination. Like if you look at all of his spells in isolation, I would say that in a way the craziest one is Geomagnetic Grip, because you can. It's like a reverse force staff on an ally. That to me is perhaps the craziest utility he has, because it's what Earth Spirit actually does in the mid game is that he kind of disallows the enemy team from engaging. If you've ever tried to play Clockwork against this hero, which I have a lot since it's one of my favorite offlaners, it's super frustrating, because whenever you engage on someone, it's like they have a built-in force staff that they don't even need to turn for. Earth Spirit just needs to be nearby and he saves your ally, so...
Yeah.
It's the whole package. That's what's crazy. I think Rolling Boulder isn't necessarily... It looks crazy, but it's not that broken, honestly.
Yeah. The only problem with Geomagnetic Grip is that the Earth Spirit player has to be in a good position. If he gets caught first, then he doesn't have that safety mechanism. Or if he's not already in a defensive standpoint, then he can't pull them there. So sometimes it's a bit mediocre as a defensive skill, but I definitely agree that in the right hands, it's really, really strong.
Can we talk about how both teams are using the default courier? Is that a Reborn thing? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That is very true, actually.
Is this a Reborn thing? I feel
Yeah,
like
they
I've
might have
seen-
forgot to
so.
re-equip it. That's very, very, very rare.
Right, that is a very important thing to bring up, I know, but...
Well, that last gank was really good for the Dire team, though, because they killed the Beastmaster with Clinks, and then he killed both Necros, so he got an extra 300 gold. So he basically got 2 kills worth of gold there.
And Necro 3 ready to go for Beastmasters, so... I believe, yes, they will finally smoke. This is their second one for 4CL. They're going to do so without... That's the beauty of not having to go with Silencer. You can just press R anytime, anywhere, and you'll be good to go. And the Hawk is going to be scouting things out. And does the Hawk get revealed? Like, does the smoke dissipate when it gets close to a hero as well? Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's a really easy... They're going to go for Roche, actually. Pycat with the double damage.
They don't have a
Maybe an easy
medallion.
Roche.
This is so scary against a Wyvern if they get caught off guard, but they have good vision. Oh, he misses the stun!
Global silence to follow. Winter Wyvern gets blown up. And perhaps now will be a free Roche. Tusk is going to try to force them out. Power shot is there as well. There's an offensive weave. They better be careful with that, as Clinks is just going to blow up the Lina. So it's a 1-for-1 in the end. There's a buyback, however, so it is a 2-for-1. Wyvern buys back into the game. Pycat getting destroyed despite having the double damage. Clinks, for some reason, focus somebody else. He's going to get called down now, as well as homing missile. That is a dead Clinks if I've ever seen one. He's going to take out the silencer before he goes down, though. Tusk looking to turn. Gyro with the negative earn charge applied to him, and Bo with a beautiful double stun into the gyrocopter rocket barrage. Nemphy's going to be kept alive by the Wyvern, but it's only going to prolong the inevitable. And this is still going. Tusk with Walrus Punch still in tow. Not enough damage.
Nice.
What in God? What? That
Okay,
was not.
actually
That was an
accurate.
actual force step. That was not the reverse. Not sure what that was all about.
I think he tried to save him by pushing him onto the high ground.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's
Okay.
alive, but he can't get down.
He can
It
pull him
looked
down
like,
in 4 mana.
The animation looked like the reverse force, like that one.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the pull.
Right?
All right.
We're gonna continue to Roche.
It's a pretty good Splinter Blast. They're still low. I'm not sure if the Dire are interested in trying this well. If they had anyone else alive than 2 supports, they would probably go for this, but... It ends up costing them a lot, this misplay from Boogie, where if he would have killed Pycat with that last attack, they wouldn't have had the Inner Beast aura here, and they would have had 1 hero less, and I think they actually wouldn't have got the Roche. And it could have gone to 4ASC instead, so that's really huge.
And with that, the net worth is Gyro on top right now. Clink's not too far behind. What does he go for next? He has the Deso. Does he continue to go straight damage?
BKB.
Or defensive, so BKB, you think?
I guess he gets BKB because
It's
he can
the
counter
item.
the silence. I mean, he's still gonna get roared, but it'll stop Earth Spirit from doing anything, it'll stop Lina from doing anything. He can basically just pop BKB and kill either Silencer or Lina whenever he wants to.
That's true. Lina
And the
is
thing
not a
about
pro,
it
so
is,
won't be getting Ags.
even if he gets roared, right? Let's say he gets roared up, who's going to kill him? Like, their damage output, Earth Spirit does absolutely nothing to BKB. That's his biggest weakness. Silencer has nothing. Lina still has nothing because she's not even close to Ags. And Gyro, at this point in time, is still more about magic damage than physical. Like,
Yeah.
it's really about the Rocket Barrage and the Call Down, which doesn't do anything either. So, actually, the main thing he needs to be scared of is the physical damage from the Necro book, but that's not enough.
And Gyro's actually pretty weak to single target damage bursts like this, so Klinks is actually pretty well positioned this game to counter the enemy carries, but he's got to play the team fights a little bit better, and he is building BKB, and the item afterwards probably has to be a Daedalus, but he maybe even force into an MKB if the Gyro smartly goes Butterfly. So I think they can definitely control the items that Klinks has to purchase to adapt to the game, because Gyro is doing well, and if you can get the Butterfly afterwards, they're going to be in a really good position.
Oh, he's going to get caught out here. No. They popped the dust, but I think it's a little too late. Pycat not with a blink. I believe that's going to be his next item. But pops the Necro, and they will push this tier 1 down to the ground.
Dire's structures are
Rambo could have caught him there, but it seems like he's good at Earth Spirit, but he's not amazing, I think, just yet. Because you can cast your boulders and things while you're rolling. It's difficult to do, because you have to plan everything ahead a little bit, but I've seen Earth Spirits be able to make things like that, and his silence was just a little bit too late. And then his dust also came late, uncharacteristically late for a player of Bambo's caliber, so I feel like he's just not super practiced on this hero.
Who can blame him?
It's tough, honestly. It's very tough. Plus he's on Captain's mode, so he probably has been practicing him for like a day or two since they knew they were playing in the tournament. Plus some extras before.
Or maybe he didn't practice it because he was like, there's no way this doesn't get banned the first game.
Yeah, possible.
That's,
Yeah, I was expecting it to be first ban as well. As well as Oracle. Oracle, I don't think was touched, pick or ban.
Oracle's not that good, honestly. Like,
I think Oracle's ready for CM.
Situational. I think so
Well,
too.
don't you think it's more a thing where they're just not used to playing against the Oracle that would be a
Nah.
reason for it being a great pick?
It's very, like, what does the game knowledge of Oracle let you really do? Like, you can, the best thing that you can do that helps you mind game your opponents is that you make your ally completely magic immune. So sometimes, like, I played him at the Red Bull thing, and one time Senking Burrow Strike epicentered me, and I just casted Fate's Edict and I walked away and I took no damage. Like, okay, I won that one little engagement because I took no magic damage, but half the time it's your team that also doesn't understand how that works. So even if I cast, like, Fate's Edict on an opponent, then my allies may cast, like, their Laguna Blade on and be like, wow, that did no damage, that's weird. So
Wow.
I feel like picking Oracle right now is... Your team has to be on board. They have to understand how the heals work, how it works. You have to pick them with a hero like Huskar or a hero who would like to skip BKB, and then you let Oracle allow that, and then buff him up, keep him healed up. Like, players just don't really play around him, and it's a hero that you need both your allies and your enemies to be on the same page if you want him to be good.
Smoke up. And it's gonna pop. They know somebody's here. They're gonna find the silencer, but here's a counter initiation from the Gyrocopter. Global Silence is popped as well. Winter Wyvern taking so much damage, as well as Nymphy on the Wind Ranger. They're gonna get one, but it's gonna cost them two. Swift ending, forced back. I heard a BKB. Oh, that was by Klinks, who just gets right-click down in the end. Ends up being 2 kills now. 3 for 2 in favor of 4CLs. They're gonna continue the pressure. Stun is not gonna connect onto Tusk. Is the rocket going to connect before he teeps out? It is not. Bye-bye.
There's a big miss there.
The thing is, it always looks... That's the thing about Earth Spirit. When you miss those stone kicks, it always looks so awkward and always looks like a mega misplay, right? That's why I was laughing, because it looked like he missed him by a huge margin. But actually, these kicks are not that easy to land. You need quite a bit of practice with this hero, which... that's the thing. This hero has one of the lowest win rates, I think, in public games of Dota.
Yeah.
But it's still widely regarded as one of the best heroes at a top level. And that's just because you need to be really masterful with it to have a huge impact, but when you are, it's crazy. And
I agree.
Bamboo has shown a couple of weaknesses here in the game.
That's part of the reason I don't think he's super overpowered, probably because I play him and I'm awful at him, so I'm like, wow, this hero is semi-limited.
Semi-limited.
Is invisible. He knows there's a sentry there, so he does a nice job of avoiding it. Looking for a solo kill, but unless Lina comes back out, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And she does have Blink, but it's at base, along with the Aghanim Scepter in her inventory right now. She's decently farmed. Top 4 in net worth. Of course, Gyro, top of the charts still, which is not good news for ESC.
It's just hard for them to take fights. Like, that was a good engagement for them, 3 versus 2, but all Silencer had to do was cast Global Silence and cast the last word and just stand there dying, and Gyro was still able to clean up almost everybody. just because of his net worth lead and the fact that they just can't cast spells.
He knows
Good
he's a
sentry from Saksa.
Probably could have gotten the kill still, actually, but doesn't want to take any chances with possible rotations coming in.
Got it.
Gyrocopter, little item update, is looks like Beastmaster picks up Boots of Travel, so he's going to be TPing to his Boar/Hawk anytime, anywhere. But the Gyrocopter we didn't talk about SNY, but he picked it up a while ago, into a Satanic. What do you think of SNY this game?
SNY is pretty much always good on Gyrocopter. He gets damage from running fast, basically, whether it's Call Down or it's Rocket Barrage. So it's just a great item to pick up and all. It's basically like a better version of a Drums, basically. It costs more, gives you a little bit of disable. It's just a great item on Gyro.
syndereN, I want your opinion, because I know how much you love SNY. I don't know if your opinion has changed, however.
Well,
You
the main
used to
thing
trash
about
this item so much.
the main thing about SNY that I've always complained about is when players get it at like minute 35 or 40. That's when I just feel like, okay, you know what? You should probably invest into something bigger and better at this stage in the game. I think it's a good item in a lot of cases.
Initiation
This is a
silence,
really good
beautiful
opening.
double stun from Sexy Bambo into a global silence. BKB popped by Clinks. He's going to stand in the middle of 3 heroes. He better be careful. His ultimate wears off in Death Pack, so he loses a little bit of HP. Dazzle graves himself, attempts to TP out. They're going to use a stun, and they will be forced to use a Roar. So that's actually decent for 4ASC. Get one big ultimate out just for a Dazzle.
Well,
Could've been a
too
lot
big.
worse.
That was global too, and
that's
they
true.
use Magnetize. I don't even think they can very successfully push off of this because that was just your Dazzle dying, and everybody else heals up and still have their ultimates. So Radiant has to go back to farming. I think if they do pressure the tower, they're pinging it.
Well, Clinks did
I
use
don't
his BKB there. I think that
Oh,
gives
good.
them... They probably feel pretty confident because Clinks is really unable to take fights now that Earth Spirit can lock him down for so long. The BKB is more important than Global Silence, I think, actually, in this game.
But he can just kill like Silence or 3-shot to the back now and go invis afterwards.
If he gets the flank, that's true. He might get a good opening here. Oh, he's not interested.
It's definitely
That
dangerous.
was his 9-second BKB. So ever so slowly that will be going down. And once it hits 5 seconds, it's I mean, what do you go now on Clinks? I mean, you have to continue to go damage, I think. But at any point, do you? I guess you can't even go Scotty because you got Deso. Like, what do you go for tankability? Is there anything?
Tank ability? I don't think he really needs it, does he? He's already got 1900 HP when he eats a big creep. The cooldown's pretty low late game now. It's only 25 seconds, so it's pretty much always up. I think he just needs damage now. He's got magic immunity, he's got HP from Death Pack, so he just needs to transition his damage farther and farther. If
What do you
people
think,
get
like a
Ghost
Daedalus
Scepters,
or MKB or something?
yeah, Daedalus or MKB, or if they get Ghost Scepters, you can buy a Diffusal Blade to counter that, but I don't think there's any of those, so he just goes damage here. And Gyro opted for Satanic over something like Butterfly, which I think is maybe a bit of a mistake, so he could also just go Daedalus first. He actually grabs an Ultimate Orb. Maybe it's going to be a Hex? Like, Hex Clinks is
true.
something you can do. I feel
think
like
it
it's
is
going
Hex.
to be Hex. It's got to be, right? It's kind of weak
It's
on
the-
damage,
oh
but
boy, here we
unless
go.
you solo kill.
It could be a Manta to get off Global Silence as well.
There's no way. That's so awful on Clinks. Like, all of your damage is from your Searing Arrows and your Strafe, and like and you buy a Desolator, which does almost nothing for your Manta Illusions, other than the fact that if they hit the same target, that target
Yeah,
has
I mean, it's
-7.
not the greatest item, but at the same time, you're kind of holding onto your BKB for the silence.
That's fine.
Which is kind of unfortunate if you're Clinks.
I think they
It's kinda
feel
easy.
like... I think they really feel like they need this Hex to engage. They want Clinks to initiate on a key backliner and just shut him down, because even if he opens on Silencer right now with Strafe, he gets the kill, but he can't prevent Global from going out if the team responds. So
Yeah.
this way he secures himself... Oh, he's in a lot of trouble, actually. He might just be soloed by Pycat.
Oh
Beastmaster
my
is so good
goodness.
for these situations.
Yeah.
Very easy kill.
Beastmaster's so strong.
I think we might have time right now, since it looks like nothing is going down, to explain the Aghanim Scepter on Earth Spirit, since it's a hero we never see, since it's not in CM. So what it does
I'm
is...
gonna leave it for you, Sint. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it turns an ally or an enemy into stone for X seconds, I think it's 3. And then they interact with your other spells. So you can use them to roll through, or you can pull them with Geomagnetic Grip, or you can kick them with Boulder Smash, like any other stone. So basically, if you're in the right position, you can turn an enemy into stone, and then you can kick them the distance of Boulder Smash, which is 2,000. So that's why I was saying, I wasn't kidding when I said you can turn an enemy to stone next to your tier 4 and actually kick them all the way into Fountain. It's one of the best abilities for defending high ground, or even for pushing if you catch them off guard.
It's kind of like playing Batrider, basically. Once you get it, it's like you're playing Batrider. But you can
Or
also use
super
it.
Venge swap.
Yeah, if somebody's dying, you make them invulnerable for 3 seconds, and after they come out, they explode and do a little bit of damage. It has a lot of good uses. It's really good for that, but Bambo is a little limited on range. The actual cast range of the stone requires you to be a little close, so you kind of need either a Force or a Blink to do the initiation, unless your
That's a
allies
good
are
point.
just simply out of position.
What's the range?
Oh, here we go. All right, case in point.
Oh my. Oh.
Yep. So when you're last worded and you're going to Snowball, you actually can't activate it. It's a little counterintuitive because you're invulnerable, but you can't cast it. So Trixie has to wait the full 4 seconds. He's getting out though.
Fight here as call down comes down. Clinks pops the BKB, gets roared though. Do they have enough physical damage to take him down again? Dazzle, beautiful grave, but it looks like Clink's gonna fall one way or another, and that's with the Dazzle in tow. So that's 2 for nothing. And Sexy Bambo chasing after Nemphy. Goes the opposite way. Blink is up in 2 if he doesn't get hit. Magnetize has run out. He has a TP in 2 seconds as well. Looks like he's gonna be fine.
This is still a Roche for sure. 50 seconds on Clink, no buyback.
So that was definitely good. This is a good place to play with Dags, because there's so many cliffs, it takes a long time to get back to your safety. And there's a lot of mobility advantage on the Radiant team versus the Dire team. Like, what does Clinks do when he's out of position? Like, he tried to fight there, he had his BKB on, but then everybody else on the Dire team was so spread out. It basically forced a bad fight for the Dire team, and that they didn't want to take, and it resulted in a lot of them just dying for nothing.
Blink now on Tusk, as this Roche is going to be taken out basically solo now by the Gyrocopter, who should be able to finish the Butterfly by the time their next fight occurs. And what is Bambo?
He actually got it.
Oh, he has it finished now? Okay, nice. So I was right before their next fight.
Yeah, that is such a strong item right now. The Dire have no MKBs, they don't have any obvious counters in terms of magic bursts. This Gyro is going to be incredibly difficult to kill with the 35% evasion and the Satanic now.
Is Earth Spirit a mech carrier?
He can, yes.
Dire's middle tower is under
You think that would be good this game? They don't have anybody.
No, he'll go
It's a bit
mobility
late now.
next. He'll go Blink or Force next for sure.
Yeah.
Because then you have more catch options with Enchant Remnant, or you can save your allies better. I really feel like going the Hex on the Clinks it's a good idea, but not this game at all. Because he's like their only carry other than Wind Ranger. They need him to be stronger than that, I feel. Like, the ganking portion of the game is far past. If you really wanted to go a Hex, maybe go before BKB if you're doing well, but I feel like he's too far behind now to do that because the Gyro was going to make Butterfly. Like, now they just don't have any good options against the Gyro, unless Wind Ranger gets MKB.
And the high ground commences as Gyrocopter, the tank. Do they have a Solar Crest or anything of that nature? Not quite yet, it seems. So can't do it to a hardcore degree as of yet. What is Windrunner working on? Is that a BKB, a Maelstrom, or
Maybe
a Deso?
Oh, they already have Deso and Clink, so I think that's kind of a waste. But at the same time, having 2 Desos is only bad in the situations where you will be hitting the same target. It's actually sometimes okay to have 2 if you're like ganking and spreading, but I wouldn't.
Oh, what a shackle onto both Silencer and the Gyrocopter. Global Silence to follow, and this is going to be a defensive one. Although they do kill Dazzle, so that's good. As Clink's bottom lane getting destroyed by Pycat. The Necro 3 unit's going to cut him off again. He has used Roar, has the gem on top of it, so doesn't necessarily need these units. Clinks is quite fast, though, as
he's going to be okay now. He just had to get out of the pig range. Oh, sick jukes.
I might catch him here. He has Yules. Oh, he juked him.
Good. Epic jukes as the high ground continues. Gyrocopter gets Walrus punched. He actually gets shackled again to a creep this time. But the reverse force step, as he talked about time and time again, is going to save him. But unfortunately, Silencer will not be so lucky. As the reinitiation back onto Winter. A beautiful double stun again. A triple stun by Sexy Bambo. On top of his ultimate, it's going to hit proc twice, at least twice on these heroes as they run away. Windrunner, he's trying for a third one. He gets Walrus Punch, does Sexy Bambo. He turns Tusk into a stone as Gyrocopter just sieges away to his heart's content. Fortifications popped. An offensive weave. But where are the right clickers? Where is Clinks? Here he comes with the Deso in tow. But this looks like it's a Rax.
No,
Rax
he
is
didn't die.
down.
He's Satanic up.
And he still has Satanic. He still has his Aegis. And this is going to be a dead double Rax, it looks like.
Got him. Run Wind Ranger. Oh, she blinks out. That was incredible.
Well, Nemphy's going to power shot, but here comes the reinitiation, this time from Walrus, punching Tusk.
Well, that was a wasted Satanic. This might be an opening.
Oh, another
nice
beautiful shackle! Can they do anything about it, though? They are so low, and the evasion is just killing them. They cannot touch the Gyrocopter. And it's 4 dead in the blink of an eye. Tusk is able to get away, but no. with the Necro in tow, he is dead as well. And this is going to be a double Rax, a GG in fact, for 4CL.
What? That was just like that was kind of stompy, I felt.
They had nothing for the evasion. They could not kill Gyro at all.
Yeah. They
It's
just got
weird
too
when you
far.
have two hard single target physical damage dealers in Clinks and Windrunner, and you still can't kill that one carry, but they just don't have the farm in this game. No MKBs, the early game didn't go well enough. I feel like they should have looked for more opportunities maybe with their Tusk, but I know we're harping on this a lot, but it's also, I feel like we should talk about it a lot since it's the very unique thing about this particular game is the Earth Spirit, but I want to emphasize how hard it is to engage into a team with a ganking composition with like Tusk and Wyvern if Earth Spirit is missing. You can get counter-engaged on, the target you go on can just get pulled away, and if you take any sort of bad opening, you will die. Like, you're not escaping from a guy who has a 2,000 range stun and a 1,600 range movement ability. So you have to be really confident in your engages, and they just got outplayed in the early game, honestly, and then it was really difficult for the competition to come back.
All right, with that, I believe we are ready for the panel to take back over this cast to give a little analysis on this past game between 4CL and 4ASC. Of course, keep in mind this is a best of 3, and with elimination mode, there will be less heroes to pick and ban from, so it should get even more interesting after this game. So let's go to the panel. I believe Zyari will take it away.
Thank you, Shannon. Oh, what a brilliant throw. What a first game. This is where things really get interesting, though. Shannon was just saying, coming into Game 2 with all the heroes we just saw banned and picked completely off the table. But hey, Earth Spirit in Game number 1. Can't complain too much, right, boys?
Yeah, he did okay. I mean, he had a couple of moments that looked like a little bit clowny, as I'm sure Kevin can attest to that as he was watching the game. But I think the most important factor for me was actually the silencer. His globals that game really seemed to solidify every single important engagement that they had up until the game was just won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 5-man play coming out from 4CL as well, and I think Clinks really thrives on getting pickoffs, and they just couldn't find those pickoffs. And even if they smoked together and tried to find a team fight, Earth Spirit kind of dominated in those situations. Even if he missed his stuns, his ultimate was good, his pulls were good, as they mentioned, and they were able to lock down the Clinks, usually with Roar. Pi kept amazingly well, and there was really just no way that 4AC could team fight into what 4CL had. I think 4CL actually just dominated the early game, as they mentioned, with just really good 5-man roaming around the map, getting farm on the gyrocopter and going from there.
Yeah. Do you think that Earth Spirit performance was enough for the future series, maybe even the round 1 openers, for Earth Spirit to just be taken out of the pool straight away? Or do you think there's a chance we'll even get to see him again?
I think... Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
I felt like Bambo played it quite well, not like amazing, but it was definitely good enough to warrant the hero being a problem. And like Sin pointed out at the end of the last match, like the whole pull on allies that are in trouble thing is definitely something that was really dangerous. But I felt like it was more of an outplay than it was a Earth Spirit being overpowered, at least in my opinion. I really felt like Silencer, the global silences, were what made all the fights harder, more so than just Earth Spirit. So maybe they'll get banned in further series, but not sure about, if they will.
Fair enough. Now, I wanted to ask about something that's a little bit more off topic here, the gyrocopter build. You guys talked about it a little bit in that game, the SNY and that stuff. It seems like this is the new standard for this hero. He went Dominator, SNY, then into Satanic. Is that just the build? Was that a situational build? Thoughts about that?
I think it's really good in this particular game because a lot of what 4ASC had was actually physical damage. Like, Clinks was the primary person who was going to kill anyone, right? So SNY gives you armor, gives you health, Helm of the Dominator, and the Aquila give you armor, which is physical mitigation. And you know that really the only way you're going to die is if you get cursed and your team beats you to death with the Clinks hitting you, right? So I think in this game it was exceptionally good, but I do feel in most games, because of his damage split, having the magical damage and physical together, that you can get away with kind of these half and half builds where you build some stats, you get a little bit of lifesteal, and then you transition into 2 really expensive items, which we commonly see Satanic and then Butterfly, because your mid game is so good that you can afford to build those cheap items to just get going, and then you can save for something big.
Yeah, I mean, there was that in that game. It seemed like the Gyro. I think he was number 1 on net worth pretty much the entire game. There was never a point where he was really hurting to find farm. So, whenever you have that scenario, I guess you're feeling pretty good in general. So where does that leave us coming into Game 2 here, boys? We saw the heroes that were taken out. Who's the pick of the litter now? Who should we expect to be highly sought after for this first round of picks?
There's plenty of support heroes left, honestly. I'm seeing like Skywrath Mage, Rubik, Disruptor, Crystal Maiden. Like, there's going to be no lacking of supports yet. maybe top tier carries is where things start to drop off. At least if we watch the last TI, the best carry was very clearly Gyrocopter, and everybody else was pretty significantly below that because they have way less lane control. They don't have as much AoE split push farm kind of stuff, and they can't transition as well late. So I think the carries are going to get a lot worse as the games continue. And other than that, maybe the mids, a lot of the top tier mids were banned as well. So I think the carries and the mids are really what we're missing the most out of in the draft.
As far as the carries are concerned, I think Anti-Mage is the one that... Anti-Mage and Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker wasn't really banned out. He's still pretty strong Spectre even. We've seen a lot of top-tier pub players, or rather pro players in pubs play Spectre a lot recently and go for kind of a more mid-game oriented build, so that's definitely a hero that could jump out as well. But yeah, I think the mids are definitely going to be the biggest issue too, like you were saying. And then it's just, there's really... I'm trying to rack my brain as to who's available, and Puck hasn't been, I guess Storm is still available, which is very surprising that he didn't get banned, he didn't get picked. I imagine
Storm, I like Tinkers when you start to get a little more interesting. Zeus is still available, Puck, Invoker, you never know, Warlock, hey, he could play mid on occasion, but Magnus as well. I'm always happy to see some Magnus action. So after that game, I want to get, we're going to move into game 2 here momentarily. Do you guys think that was more of an out execution, or was that more of an out draft, or per usual kind of a combination of both?
I think it was both. I think the draft in particular, it's so hard to fight into Global Silence when you have that style of team. Think about this. You have a Tusk. He has to hard initiate every single fight. If you initiate like that into a Global Silence, there is nothing that your team can do to help you. You're either losing the Tusk for free, or one of the supports is dying to save your Tusk. I mean, that's pretty much how every single fight went, even as early as 16 minutes in, where they were walking up to that high ground. Sure, the positioning wasn't ideal, but the global is what ruined that fight for them. They could not save anyone. And between Wyvern and Dazzle, what other reason do you pick the heroes other than to be defensive and save? You know, keep the fight going. So for me, that was really, really brutal.
All right, well, with that, game number 2, draft is underway. We're going to cut back to our web interface here and see what the 4 clovers and the 4 anchors have for